in the table of nations in Genesis chapter 10. Ham fathered Cush, and Cush fathered Nimrod. Cush had settled and populated the area of northwest Africa, known as Cush, which today, modern day, is known as Ethiopia, and perhaps parts of modern day Sudan and Somalia were also actually parts of Cush's area back in the earlier days. After about 1,000 years after the flood, Nimrod was born in Ethiopia. I notice this Ethiopia connection because this is also where this Maitreya has been seen in Ethiopia and Sudan and Northwest Africa and stuff, and so there's always connections, folks. According to tradition, Nimrod set out to establish himself an empire and began by conquering cities which became established in Babylon. He conquered 7 cities, which I think is very interesting because you might catch a parallel in Revelation chapter 13 on the first beast that is coming in the future. But he captured 7 cities: Babel, Erech, and Akkad, and Calneh, and Samaria, and in Assyria the cities of Rehoboth, Calah, and Resen. After he conquered these 7 cities, he founded Nineveh. And the Bible is specific in stating that he was the first man after the flood to become an emperor. And Genesis 10 describes Nimrod as a mighty hunter before the Lord. However, the term is not used as a complimentary term, but implies ruthlessness and a lust for power. Another thing about the term mighty is that one that denotes a Nephilim, because the Nephilim of old, the giants of old, were all considered as mighty. Was one of the terms that described them. Sorry about this, folks. I can't even breathe. They start this it feels like they're, I can't breathe at all. Like you got hands around your throat and you can't breathe. Nimrod was the first to become a mighty one on the earth. And this indicates his hybrid Nephilim blood and supernatural strength. He was also to become the first God King on earth. In the book of Jasher, chapter 7, it explains what happened to the clothing that Yahweh had made for Adam and Eve after they were discovered naked in the Garden of Eden. You all know after the sin, the Lord went looking for them, and they had made figs to cover themselves with because they had come to the realization they were naked. The Lord had made them garments of ram's wool. And after they were expelled from the Garden of Eden, this clothing was given to Enoch, the son of Jared. And after Enoch was taken up into heaven, it was given to Methuselah, his son, and then it was given to Noah to put aboard the ark. One of these minutes they'll stop. Let's send a prayer here and send the Lord's angels down here to stand guard around here so I can speak in peace. Okay, so these garments were given to Noah, and he took them upon the ark. After the floodwaters receded and they left the ark, Ham stole the garments and hid them from his brothers. Ham then later gave his secret clothes that he had made to his son Cush. When Cush was young, he had 4 sons, and in those days the descendants of Ham had numbered 730 men. This is according to Jasher 7:14. When he was older, he married another wife and made a son called Nimrod. Now Cush loved Nimrod because Nimrod looked after him in his old age. When Nimrod was 20, Cush placed upon him the ram's fleece, which made him strong and gave him great power, hence Nimrod becoming a mighty hunter before the Lord, or a hunter of the mighty. From Jasher 7 onwards, it details the strength he had because of putting on the garments and the battles he led for the next 20 years. So in some way, the clothing that the Lord had clothed Adam and Eve with was given to Nimrod. Nimrod had taken it and wore it, and when he wore it, he obtained supernatural strength from wearing it. And it was Nimrod who had led early contempt for God. He persuaded his people not to ascribe their war victories to God, but to credit themselves for their own victories. he changed their government into a tyrannical government because he saw this as the only way to turn them from the fear of God to becoming totally dependent on his power. And the book of Jasher, and you know what, I really encourage you to read the books of Jasher, the book of Jubilees, and the book of Enoch. And all three, you can find them on my website at SherryTalkRadio.com. I thank the saints out there for your prayers. I can already feel strength returning to me. A lot of attacks on tonight that want the show to be aired, and so thanks for the prayers out there. Anyway, the book of Jasher 27:7 ascribes Nimrod's death to Esau, the grandson of Abraham, who allegedly beheaded Nimrod. Nimrod had hated Esau and feared him because his own priest had prophesied that Abraham's seed would destroy the serpent's seed. And I see this as it was a future event when they prophesied that, probably an apocalyptic event yet to happen, that Abraham's seed will destroy the serpent's seed. There's one common element to Nimrod in all his manifestations, and that is his symbol of the snake, serpent, and dragon. When Nimrod was this mighty warrior, and for 20 years he was a warrior, he took the dragon as his personal emblem, so that from him spring various dragon myths and their association with apocalyptic events. The only favorable accounts of dragons are found among the Hamitic peoples of the world, and this includes the Ethiopians, the Hittites, the Chinese, the Japanese, and some of the American Indian tribes. And so these have to be the descendants of Nimrod and Ham. All these races that have taken on this dragon symbol. And so I know I hear from people, where are all these different races from? Well, there's a huge giveaway on the dragon because Nimrod had taken the dragon as his own personal emblem. And so that would include the Ethiopians, the Chinese, and the Japanese. After establishing his kingdom in the Tigris and Euphrates region, Nimrod consolidated his power by establishing a state religion. He constructed a religion that included deification and worship of the emperor, which was himself, worship of Satan and demons, and star worship. A key unifying factor in his religion was to be astrological observatory built upon a pinnacle or a pyramid or a Tower of Babel. You know, when you see this Tower of Babel, especially in the New World Order symbols of today, it looks just like a silly little Tower of Pisa type thing. But this Tower of Babel could have been pretty tall. Another term for it was ziggurat. Another term for ziggurat is pyramid. And so I believe that's probably what he was trying to build, was a pyramid. He was trying to build a pyramid. Because I don't believe that the pyramid in Egypt, the large one now, the pyramid at Giza, was built by anyone but God himself. There's 3 pyramids there. There's the huge one and then 2 lesser ones. And I believe, along with what I was told by my Nazar friend years ago, that the large one, the main pyramid in Egypt, had been built by Lord himself. They all knew it. And that the 2 lesser ones had been mimics and reproductions by Satan himself to try to mimic the large one. He could never build it, a large one, just as the Lord had constructed. The Lord said, I think it's in Deuteronomy 19, that it was he was setting a sign in the middle of Egypt, and that was his sign. And so, you know what the Lord creates, no one's going to be able to destroy or mimic, and no one has been able to create it or destroy it. If Satan had built that pyramid, it probably would look like one of the other million pyramids around the world that are halfway destroyed already, or eroded and corrupted over the years. And so that's what I think he was trying to do. He was trying to build his own pyramid. Josephus states that Nimrod set his will against God, proclaiming himself a god and demanding to be worshipped as a god. And his queen, Semiramis,